If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started. All right, well, let's get started, guys. This is Real Estate for YouTube. We are here to talk about all things in regard to real estate and YouTube. I mean, we discuss video as well in general with the other platforms, depending on who we have in the room at the time. I will say I'm not a resident expert on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook at all. Now, we do have a presence there based on, how we edit our videos and repurpose them and place them on the other platforms. One of the things I do love about YouTube is the fact that very easy to chop long form content into short form content to serve all of the other platforms. Therefore, it's not a focus of ours at all. Now, I always believe that if you want to create content specifically for a platform, that is the best way to be successful on that platform. But the other ones are just not a primary focus for me, and I would say probably not even a really a secondary focus. I mean, there's other ways that we're growing and expanding. It's not really through the other social platforms. YouTube has served us very well, and so we're just looking at growing and expanding our business in different ways. And as far as, it was funny, I was talking this morning to a group, and the topic comes up time and time again about the time it takes to make content or to make video, especially for YouTube. I feel like YouTube is typically the last choice of most real estate agents. I think they see moving into short form content a lot easier, or maybe a simple transition for them to do. And I wanted to help everyone understand that making video is probably the least amount of time I spend in my business at this point now. The fact is that because I've become very proficient at it, because it's become second nature, because it's become a habit, because it's become a discipline, that I don't think I spend more than an hour a week probably making content, because of the time on task over time. And that is a simple formula for success as well. Time on task over time that I've put into video has allowed me to become very proficient to where if I want to make a 15-minute video, it will take me 15 minutes to make. I can pretty much do that in one take. And also, if I head out to a neighborhood or neighborhood to make a video, what used to take me 4 hours at a time, I can do in 45 minutes, just because of the proficiency, the flow, the process, everything that I've buckled down in that. But again, coming into it, it didn't start out that way. So now, video, the time it takes me to make video is extremely minimal compared to everything else that is going on in my schedule. And we're fortunate enough that the platform has allowed us the business to able to expand and grow into other opportunities to where we want to focus on some new things and growing our business in that way, shape, or form. So with that, I just wanted to kind of kick that off. And also, don't be discouraged. I mean, you can be discouraged, but the thing is that, hey, we get discouraged about a lot of things, right? But it's the people that push through that continually work, that persist, that move forward. They stay consistent regardless. And here's another thing we talked about was the fact that if you're not happy where you're at in your business, then number one, it's just probably because you haven't learned something yet. So what can you hyper learn in the next 30 to 60 days? Maybe YouTube is not for everyone. Maybe you want to focus on a different platform. I know it took me about 60 days of intense studying. Now, I still study. I still learn about YouTube. I still am very involved in the process. But to go from zero to a significant amount of knowledge in a short period of time, I was able to do that in 60 days because the amount of information that's afforded to us this day and age with Google, with blogs, with YouTube, with books, with everything out there that is available, you can pretty much pick your subject, whatever it is you want to learn, and you can, I believe, become pretty close to an expert, an almost expert, within about 60 days if that becomes your primary focus. And the thing is that you just have to shift everything else. So instead of watching an hour or two of Netflix a night, not that everybody in here does that, but it's one of those things where if you study, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever the case may be, and understanding the platform, I do believe that is very, very important to understand the platform, because that way you are creating content strategically versus just posting videos. I believe that's a big difference, creating content strategically versus just posting videos. And so from that standpoint, hyper learning a subject within 60 days, because you put all of your focus on it, watch as many videos as possible, read a few books, 3 to 5 books, read some articles, read some blog posts, go straight to the source, the platform, whatever news they have, and just continually build on that. It's going to give you a good idea to be able to have a baseline and to, start and grow whatever. I mean, and this could be the case for postcards. I mean, if you want to be the absolute best postcard marketer on the planet, there's plenty of YouTube videos, there's books, I mean, there is courses, there's all types of things that you could study about postcards and become probably one of the best postcard marketers in your market in the next 60 days. The thing is that postcard marketing, I think, was really heavily studied, and I know it's still done, but is that a primary focus? I know very successful agents that are still sending out postcards usually twice a month, and they've been doing that for 10, 15 years. Well, if you wanted to have any impact, if you're in that agent's area that has been doing it that long, well, the thing is not just to send out postcards. The thing is to take time to sit down, study postcard marketing, read the books, watch videos, understand as much as you can about postcards before sending out that first batch, because they are expensive. And so that's one thing you want to be very mindful of your money. So if you put in that work ahead of time and really dive into understanding postcard marketing from that viewpoint, I believe that will kick off your journey a lot easier. So that's what I'm getting at as far as YouTube or whatever platform. If you want to move into social media, it's taking the time in the beginning to understand it. Now, there's also ways to shortcut that. You can buy a course, you can hire a coach, you can do certain things as well to fast track that. Now, you can read YouTube books out there, but I will tell you right now, they're pretty much all general about YouTube. There's not really anything specific about YouTube for real estate. So, that's something that if you want to find a course or, someone to help you with that, then that would be a one way to shortcut that. And so also, what most people don't know is that it took me 7 months before we got the first deal under contract. Now, that wasn't 7 months of publishing, but spending the 2 months of research, I did a month of filming before ever publishing. So that's 3 months, 3 months right there. Then publishing the first video, December, January, February, March, getting the first deal under contract in March, and then closing on those first 2 deals. Actually, 1 year ago today, April of 2021, we closed 2 deals. That was it from YouTube in April. 2 deals, 2 contracts, 2 homes from the YouTube channel. And to this day, we're now at, from April to April, 162 transactions in a 1 year time frame from April to April, just from the YouTube channel. So that's the impact that it can have on your business. And I absolutely believe, because I've lived it and I've seen it happen with others, that you can change your life, you can change your business, you can change everything with video within a 6-month or 1 year period, based on how you focus and how you implement and your consistency and your proficiency. And are you constantly improving? And are you a student of the game? And are you growing? And are you doing everything you can to dial in that platform that you want to be the expert on and making it work for you? And every time you publish, you get a little bit better versus wondering what happened or why did that not work. Or if you are wondering that, digging in to figure out, okay, what could I do differently next time? What was the big shift? What was the big change? How do I make the adjustment? It's always about asking these questions. And if you want to grow faster, then you need to publish more. So if you start out with one video a week, then what's going to happen is it's going to take you longer to grow. Okay, nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever, but you have to choose the speed and the rate you want to go. But if you publish one video a week and after 3 to 4 months you're saying, well, shoot, nothing's happening, I'm not getting any traction, well, that's not necessarily the platform's fault. It's us. We need to look at us. What are we doing? Can we move that process quicker? Let me paint this scenario. If you publish one video a week, in 1 year, you'll have, if you publish 3 videos a week in 12 months, or I mean 12 weeks, 3 months actually. So in 12 weeks, you'll have pretty much the same amount of videos, around 50 videos. So do you want to speed up the process at which you grow, or do you want to drag that out? Now, only you know your schedule and what you're willing to do and what you're willing to commit to. So that's completely up to you. But that is something that I noticed whenever we started in Dallas. There was at the time probably about 10 real estate 10 real estate agents on YouTube in Dallas. Now, someone look at that and say, well, Dallas is saturated on YouTube, but that's not the case at all whatsoever. I mean, 10 agents on YouTube in your market is not saturated. Try sending out postcards or being on the billboard or in the magazine ads with the thousands of other agents that are, or calling FSBOs and expireds with the 100 other agents that are doing that as well. Then that's a lot to compete with in that time frame. But there's no competition on YouTube right now. And the biggest channel at the time had about 7,000 subscribers when we started with 0. So that was something that I noticed and I took note of, and I thought, okay, is there even a possibility? How can you go past or catch somebody that has a 7,000 subscriber head start on you? And there was actually 2 channels. One had 7, the other one had like 5,500. There's another channel with like 4,000, another one with 3.5, 4,000. So there was a couple of channels with some good numbers out there. But what I noticed, because I studied my market before getting started, was they only publish one video a week. All of them, every single one of them, one video a week. So I thought, oh, okay, well, this is now part of my plan. If I ever want to catch them, catch up to them, possibly even pass them, the only way I can do that when they've already been publishing for a year or 2 or 3, one of them had been on the platform for 7 years. Think about that, 7 years, and they're just at 5.5 thousand subscribers. That nothing wrong with that, but so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come out with 3 videos a week. That is my plan, to gain traction as fast as possible, to make this work as fast as possible, and to possibly even become the #1 channel in Dallas. That's what I believe it will take, is staying consistent on that. And so in the first year of 2021, we published 160 videos, and that is pretty much 3 videos a week. 160 may seem like a lot at the macro level, but when you break that down per week, 3 videos a week, and I just stayed consistent. I was committed to myself to not pull back on that, to stay consistent. That was the #1 goal every single week, just get my 3 videos out and keep the content rolling. And now at this point, we are the top channel in Dallas. We've passed up all of those other channels. We're actually beating that one channel that started with 7,000. We're actually beating them by almost by 400 subscribers now. Now, that's just a vanity metric. Doesn't mean anything at all whatsoever. It was just a benchmark for myself. It was just a goal. Nothing against those agents or channels at all whatsoever. But I looked up to them. I mean, I still look at them. I still look at their content. I still, look at their progress. It was just a benchmark for myself to be able to say, okay, here's the standard. Here's the goal. Here's something that I can pursue. Here's something that I can work towards achieving. So that's all that was. And so, if you're not in a place where you want to be, it's just probably because you haven't learned something yet and then applied it. And if you're not going as fast as you want to go, well, then go faster and think about, how do I speed this process up? And we looked at that in December. We asked ourselves, we wanted to go faster in 2022 than we did in 2021. So what's the first thing we did? We hired a coach. We hired a real estate coach because we understood the power of shortcuts. And so the first thing the coach told us was, Travis, you need to stop taking calls, because I used to take all the calls. And then I gave that to Travis, and Travis took all the calls. But even Travis was getting bogged down with meeting with clients and taking calls, and we started to slip on leads, and some got through the cracks. And so he said, the first thing you got to do, got to get rid of that, got to pass that on. And so when we did that, lo and behold, the business tripled overnight. The other thing with bringing on a team, okay, do we bring on one buyer's agent or do we bring on 10? Well, the thing is that if you train one person, can you train 10 at the same time? I think so. I think there's really not much difference there. If you're going to train one person on systems and processes and selling and scaling, and what's the difference if you have 9 additional people in the room? So we added 10 agents, practically overnight. And I was concerned. I was really concerned. My number one concern was, are we going to be able to feed them? Are we going to have enough business to pass out? Even though that's not necessarily our responsibility, but still I felt that responsibility, thinking, okay, well, if we do this, are we going to have enough business to pass out, to help them achieve their goals, and to help get them to want to stick around? And now we have 15 local agents, and everybody typically gets a lead every other day, and the lead flow increased. And that's what allowed us to grow our business to actually do more in the first quarter of this year than we did all of last year. So in last year, we closed 64 transactions from the channel. And in the first quarter, the first 90 days, we got 90 deals. 50 of those closed, 40 of them pending. So a deal a day that we got under contract. We actually just hit 100 transactions today for the year already from YouTube. And that's pretty significant. Now in April, instead of a home a day, it's gone to about a home every other day, but that's okay. We're still doing way better than we did last April, because that was only 2 transactions last April. So year over year, we're definitely, 5, 6, 800, who knows, 1,000% over last year in April. But also, spring break happens here in Texas pretty much the whole month. We know things are a little bit slowed down. That happens in other states. We know April is typically a little bit less volume. Now, that we don't use that as an excuse, but also we have so much lined up in May and June that we expect those 2 months to end up a very strong second quarter. But ultimately, that's what we looked at, is how do we grow in a 1-year time frame, in a 90-day time frame? How do we condense 12 months into 3 months? And we did that by hiring a coach, letting him tell us what we needed to do, because he knew how to do that, implementing what he told us to do, bringing on the right people, and getting out of trying to handle all the clients and everything ourselves, to letting the team handle that, and then also expanding our agent count so that they could maybe have less, they'll have less than what we're used to working with, but they have people that they can concentrate on. And I tell you what, they've been flipping deals left and right. And so we haven't skipped a beat. We haven't missed anything, even though other team members, not myself or Travis, have been taking on those clients. What we found is that they are really happy just to work with the team. They're happy that they're a part of the Living in Dallas, Texas team, and that they're working with us. And so, that is pretty significant. I would say that brand has been established now on YouTube. And for us, it's a great way to to build our business. Now, again, we're building our business in other areas because we don't want to depend heavily on YouTube, but we're also expanding into different revenue streams and other things that we're working on. So also that will help us grow and the things that we're working on. So I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of that background about some conversations that I had this morning, as far as sticking with it, staying consistent. Don't get frustrated. Well, you can get frustrated, but just keep moving forward is really what it comes down to. And I think I'll kind of cap it off there. Chrissy, how are you doing today?
Doing awesome. Having a great morning.
Yeah. We had a pretty good call last night, and so it was funny. I got a call yesterday to speak in on an online room. It was kind of a little bit last minute, but they asked me to speak and just share a quick story, only 15 minutes, about YouTube. And there was 300 people in that room. And then, they asked us, well, how can we learn more? And I said, well, luckily for everyone, we're doing a call tonight at 7 p.m. Because we do a YouTube call webinar twice a week, and so I gave that out. We maxed out the room. I wasn't even thinking about it at the time, but we have it capped at 100 people. And I didn't put two and two together until it actually capped, and then our next call booked up well over 50 people. But yeah, we had about 150 people book. 100 people maxed out in the room last night, and it was a great call and good conversation afterwards. Good questions, answers, everything's that. So, anyways, I see Jennifer, our good friend Jennifer Goodman, on stage with us here, and always have some good questions. Or do you have a comment, contribution? How are you doing today, Jennifer? How's it down in Austin?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, Levi, thanks for having me up with the group, Chrissy as well. Always good to be here with you. You're so full of information. And I am, as you can hear, quite stuffy. It is high pollen count. Everything is covered in green in Austin due to oak pollen right now. And I've never experienced allergies, and boy, good times. But what I wanted to say, first of all, is congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. What you've accomplished is it's the 4 minute mile, and you've shown us the way and that it can be done. And I just love how you and Chrissy are always breaking things down into the minutia and then the process. So those building blocks and the ability to be able to stand on your shoulders is so great, and I'm super excited. I've been really slow out of the gate. I've studied your course. I've jumped on calls, and you just keep giving. So I just wanted to say thank you more than anything today on your 1 year anniversary.
Well, thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. So, well, shall I move on over to Joe and see what's up with Joe? How you doing today, Joe? How's it going over in California?
Levi, what's happening, my guy? You got a good stage. Jennifer Goodman and Joe Goodhue, JG's.
In the house.
Small world. I want to congratulate you on that 100 deals closed. It's a two-part question, actually. Out of those 100, or Jen, about how many are buy versus list sides? And the second question would be, what types of content videos are working best to attract sellers? Thanks in advance.
I love this question. Let me ask you, Joe, do you have anything against working with buyers?
It's tough. It's for sure. Loyalty is it's a hard thing to come across. Nobody wants this. Nobody really does BREs out here. Nobody really signs them, and it's kind of like a first come first serve basis, unless you're like on $1 million listing.
Right. So let me ask you this: if you had a goal of how many listings that you could do, physically, let's be realistic, because I know everybody would like 200 listings, but let's just say what would be your goal this year? Or do you have a goal this year of how many listings you would like?
Volume is 100 million. I haven't really broken it down, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, that's like 2 homes in California where you're at, right? So
it doesn't take too many. No.
Okay. So let's just say that's 20, let's say that's 20 at 5 million each. I mean, that's now you're in a different market, I would say too. You're in definitely a higher priced market. So, I mean, I think you're just going to have to do, different type of content. But I will say this, it's whenever I get asked this question a lot, I always ask people, it's like, what would you rather do? Because here's the deal, out of 162 transactions, do you want to guess how many of those that I did personally?
Probably like 5, 7.
One. I sold the first house whenever I was dialing in this process. I mean, I took the first 350 calls because I wanted to understand the process. But from the beginning, I understood that, I didn't, do that. I didn't want to do the day of opening doors and um, showing homes and driving around like that, especially with buyers. So that was part of my plan from the initial beginning. So having a good referral partner or a business partner or a team or somebody, I will tell you that these types of leads are the absolute best to give to anybody else. They will love you over and over again. And I've taken 50% on, every deal. And so I would ask, would you rather have 50% of 160 transactions or 100% of, your own, whatever the case may be? Now, not everybody's in Southern California where the typical list price is probably 3 to 5 million, depending on your area. That is a different market. But if you want to do content to attract that, you're going to have to do luxury listings. I think that's the content you want to track that. Now, here's the other thing too, is that, yeah, we may be buyer heavy. And I'll tell you this right now, because I'm not shy about it, but, I think 99.9%, maybe 99% of those clients were on the buy side. But relocation for us is completely different. Our average contact to under contract is 43 days. And that's stemming from last year. From this whole year, out of the 160 transactions, when you look at the first time anybody ever reaches out to us to going under contract is 43 days. And it's probably actually less than that if you looked at the time they actually came into town, because most of our people, when they reach out to us, they don't come into town for 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks. Most of our people, if I were to guess, probably 80% of them buy on the first weekend they're here. They buy, get under contract, they leave. And I think 80% of our clients don't even close in state. They remote close in their home state. And so we don't end up going to 80% of our closings as well. But these people are extremely intentional. They're motivated. They're ready to make a move. They're not afraid. They're selling more expensive homes in these other states. And, it's just a different type of client. It's not the local buyer that has a $300,000 budget with $1 million eyeballs and wants to look at 85 homes. It just doesn't happen with these types of clients. Now, because they're such high quality, I've positioned myself to refer that out. And I say refer that out, I mean, at first it was Travis. Travis is my business partner, but the way I look at it is I referred him that business. Travis has never prospected in his real estate career. He's never made a cold call, a door knock, never sent out a postcard, never been in none of that. Because of the inbound leads that we get, they were handed to him. Now, when we brought on team members, same thing. We have brand new agents on our team, 4 of them actually. They're all pacing well over 200,000 in commissions just from their cut, and they haven't ever prospected. Maybe that's not the best way to train them, but because we're able to pass on these types of leads to them that are highly intentional, they're super easy to work with, and they are turning over deals very quickly. Our average agent right now has at least 8 deals under contract, and so and a couple of them just got licensed in January. So we have some agents that are 3, 4 months old on our team that already have 6 to 8 deals under contracts themselves. So it's something that, depending on how you look at it, and the reason I'm just saying this, Joe, not to pick on you, I'm just, I want people to kind of think differently. And now the thing is that we are already getting calls, from people that we sold last year, that situations have changed, right? They're looking to sell. So imagine what our database will be in 2 to 3 years, or even 3 to 4 years. They say that majority of your business can end up coming from your database or your sphere or things like that. Imagine what we're building through this. Maybe it's a little buyer heavy in the beginning. Okay, but I'm okay with that. But also taking a percentage of every one of those deals that I haven't had to open a single door. And what's funny is that first time I sold was actually a new construction. So we just got that under contract, and so that's the way. Is it's working smarter and finding out how to leverage yourself, and then also how to expand your business and bring on more people. I saw a video the other day. If those that may or may not know Alex Hermosi, and he talked about the way you're ultimately going to scale is you do more by doing less. And so this is the first time, or not the first time, but for now, it's like every time as we expand, it's like, who can we put in place to handle this so that we don't have to, whether that's an employee, a contractor, a VA, a buyer's agent, anything like that. We're always looking at, okay, before we make the move into this direction, who do we have that we can put in place to take lead and take point on this so that we don't have to do this ourselves. We understand the structure, we understand how it works, we understand the game plan, the business plan and how that's going to move. But also, if we do it ourselves, we're only going to limit ourselves, and it's not going to allow us to expand into something else. So I think second part of your question, Joe, I'm sure it probably makes sense, like because you mentioned $1 million listing. I think that's what you have to do. Is you're going to have to be visible on video. You're going to have to create a channel that targets, that shows multi-million-dollar property tours, if that's your market. I don't know, maybe. I think that is, I don't know, or if you're selling condos by the beach, you got to get up in that million plus range, because I don't believe anything under $1 million as far as a listing video really typically does well on YouTube. So you want to, and you're in the glitz and the glam lifestyle over there in LA, in Southern California, those types of things. And so visibility is everything, I believe. And so that's something and if you don't have your own $5 million listings, then you need to find some that you can. A couple of ways you could do that. You find designers, you find custom home builders, you find those type of people that are looking for as much promotion as possible, and you get in with them, and you can tour their properties or showcase them and attract but the thing is you're going to attract initially luxury buyers, but again, luxury buyers can turn into luxury sellers. So I think it's a complete different strategy on that, especially in your marketplace, higher price points. You got to have to do things, but ultimately you have to have the visibility, and you have to think like that $1 million listing format, and really that was a lot of the inspiration for the luxury channel that we have. So was $1 million listing. It's like, how can we make it, kind of look and feel that way? We don't want to be a direct copy, but if that's what we want to generate, then we need to have that type of high class look, high class touch, and move in that direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks. That was pretty insightful. I'm always about playing the long game. I think a lot of people are selling quickly with the appreciation year to date. And I think it's definitely about elevating the content to the next level, which is something I was always insecure about. It wasn't perfect. I didn't have all the right proper gear. How am I going to market to, my sweet spot's like 3 to 5 million. But starting another luxury channel might be something I should consider for sure. I'll have to follow yours and see how you're doing.
Well, hey man, I've seen your content, you're great on video, and you're a handsome fellow. So you just need, I think for that, you do need somebody holding the camera. Ideally, I don't know, you could probably do selfie style, but I think, have someone holding the camera is a much more professional look. But you need to look at ways to borrow listings if you don't have your own at the time, and film those as much as possible. That's the thing. You can look at it all over YouTube. Multi-million-dollar property tours always get good hits. It's something that people are always curious about. They always want to see the inside. Every one of those homes are unique and different, but doing a property tour on your $500,000 listing, in the cul-de-sac, not really that exciting, right? And then it's also typically not relevant because it's just another $500,000 listing. And I'll tell you from my experience in Dallas, that's why we don't do them on our channel. We have listings and we've done listings, but we don't film them because pretty much every $500,000 home in Dallas kind of looks like a $500,000 home. There's not a lot of uniqueness or anything like that to them. And if somebody comes across that video and it's sold by the next week, in our opinion, and in my belief, that's an irrelevant video at that time. Anybody can look at a $500,000 home on the inside on Zillow or Realtor or these other platforms, and they're looking at them all day long. So do they really need me to tour them through it? But what they can't see on Zillow and Realtor is they can't see the home next door, and they can't see the home across the street, and they can't see the playground in the neighborhood, and they can't see the community pool, and they can't see the commercial area and the Bob's Donut Shop right around the corner. That's, absolutely amazing. And you have to get there before 10 a.m. or else they're sold out, So that's what we focus on as far as your average client. Now we typically see our average price point is 565, coming from the channel. And that's, where we generalize in. We also see a cap of around $1.5 million to 2 million on the buy side from the channel. So again, depending on your market, what's best to serve them. So, if you're in the $3 to $5 million range, I don't know if, you can do property tours, or neighborhood tours. You can do luxury neighborhood tours as well. I think that's one way to do that. On top of that, if you're looking for content to get started out with, because think about it, how many people, now the thing is that, I don't know how many people are moving into that area in that price range. It seems to me, it would be my assumption that it's mostly local area people always moving within the ecosystem there, so to speak. So maybe they have a good idea, but still, I think outside eyeballs would be curious. I would be curious about a luxury neighborhood tour around Beverly Hills or Laguna Beach, or whatever areas you're working in there. That's something that I think would be interesting content to showcase those neighborhoods, and that's something that $1 Million Listing they don't go into a lot of depth. But if you ever watch $1 Million Listing Los Angeles, what is Altman always talking about? He's always like, man, we're here in the bird streets. That's like all that stuff is stuck in my head just from hearing him describe the bird streets. It's right off of, over here close to Hollywood, but it's in the hills and you have some of the most exclusive and that's usually just his narration when he's driving to his $10 million mansion, right? Or listing or whatever the case may be. So, but have you really gotten a good idea? Now in that series, they're always filming them like in the car driving up. So you kind of get a little idea there too. But, for somebody to stop and get out and be like, okay, well, look, here's the road situation, here's the the traffic situation, here's the price ranges. You can get as low as 4 million, but it could go up to 40 million. That's a huge range, and a lot of people can't grasp that concept as far as what does that really mean. How does that work? If I'm looking to tap into it, is that even a reality, getting into the bird streets at 2 or 3 or 4 million, or is it a minimum of 8 million now? What are lot prices? What does a lot look like? What does it take to even build on the hillside there? All these types of things, that's those questions that I wonder about. And so, could you turn that into, neighborhood vlog of the bird streets? Those types of things I think would be what you want to do to start, try to generate business and stand out from $1 Million Listing, because they have a huge platform. So, but a lot of times is people love to hate too. And so people would say, well, I would never work with any of those guys. They're too high profile or they're too stuck up or anything like that. But here's Joe, man, here's old Joe over here in the neighborhood giving me some great content. He looks good. He's in a suit, walking me around town. That could be somebody I could relate to. That's somebody I could work with, and so that type of thing. I think the main thing is you have to be on video, right? You have to be present. You have to be visible. Otherwise, if you're not, you'll never be found. Does that make sense?
Levi, you're pouring into me hard, dropping all kinds of gems today. Yeah, I think you inspired me an idea. $1 million listing realities, the untold truth.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, I think you got, I would love, absolutely love to be on the coast or in the mountains. I tell this all the time. I'm in flat ass Dallas. All right. I feel like I make the same damn videos over and over. And to me, the suburbs here, but what do? I don't think about me. That's me. That's my opinion. What I'm thinking about is my viewer. What do they want to see? What do they not know? What are they interested in? What can help them, you know, get the full picture of what it's like to live in this neighborhood? What makes this neighborhood unique? Because it's definitely not mountains and it's definitely not the beach. So how do I make this neighborhood stand out? Why would anybody want to live here? So those are the things that I'm always thinking about, asking myself and moving forward on, to grow and expand. And I'm just like, my goodness, the people in California, Florida, Pacific Northwest, all these areas that I love, that I think are beautiful, I would just be like, oh my goodness, I would tear that stuff up. It would be great. So I think you got a huge opportunity, but you're going to have to position it differently, especially in that price range. You're gonna have to look the part, right? You dress for the part that you want to be in. And so just like if you were to interview for $1 million listing, you probably wouldn't show up in your joggers and tennis shoes. You'd probably show up in your suit, right? So you just got to think about those types of things. And, the type of a client you want to attract, you've got to know what that client is looking for and what they look like and what do they dress like. And so, all those types of things, you can absolutely get that across in video and attract those people.
Yeah, hey man, you definitely you attract what you are. Your vibe is your tribe, and really crushed today. Thanks for the insight, Mr. Greg. Why don't you come on up here? Don't be shy.
Yeah, anybody in the audience, you're welcome to come on stage. I mean, I'm always looking for other people's perspectives. That's how I learned. In Clubhouse, I spent the first 4 months in YouTube rooms before I ever jumped into a real estate room, because it was part of my process of learning and understanding. And I felt like this platform was like a 24/7 at the time. I mean, there was definitely a lot more YouTube rooms back in the day last year. I feel like most of them have died off, but I used to jump in all the time, and it was like 24/7 customer service, or free coaching on YouTube. And I would just come in there, but I always came in with intention. You have to be careful on these platforms because they can suck the life out of you sometimes. But, I came in strategically with intention. It's for the fact that I really wanted to learn something. I wanted to get in, get out, get on with my life. I mean, one question I asked Benji Travis, I still remember to this day, of course, because he saved me probably 100,000, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I was, in and out of these rooms, and I saw, he opened up a room one day and I jumped in to ask a very, very specific question. Nobody had the answer and then Benji popped in and was like, oh, you can do this. And it changed. I mean, it was a big, big deal. So, those types of things, any type of opportunity like this will definitely can change your business. And so that was whenever I made the shift. Actually, I'll just tell you what it is since we're on the topic. But in the beginning, I was, working with somebody different at the beginning, and we used to put the phone number on the video. Now, what I tell people is never, ever put a phone number on the video, because number one, you want that video to be evergreen. You want that video to live forever, and you never know. Phone numbers could change. Companies could go out. I mean, do you really own a phone number? And so somebody that I had helping me on editing, actually started up or open the account on that phone number. And here's the other piece of advice. You start anything, you open the YouTube channel, you get the phone number, you control the email, you control absolutely everything. Do not give that to a VA, to an assistant, or anybody else, you open all the accounts because you want to own them. I had somebody that had helping me on editing. I allowed them to, get the phone number, and I just thought, well, if I've got the logins, like, what's the big deal? Wasn't something I was thinking about at the time. Well, then in the editing process, they also started putting that phone number on the videos for probably the first 15 or 20 of our videos. Well, whenever I decided to move on from that person, that editor, and go in a different direction, guess what that person took? They took that phone number. And so I was sitting there going, holy cow, how much business am I losing? Even though we had changed the phone number in the descriptions, which is now where I only recommend you put information in the descriptions because you can always change a description. But I knew I was losing business because I was like, despite of what you have in description, or even if I said, hey, check the description below, that phone number would pop up on the video. And what I found out, that question that I asked that day, because I was in a YouTube room and I asked anybody, is there a way to fix it? And everybody said no. It's like once you publish a video on YouTube, you don't want to deter from the analytics. You don't want to delete it. If you ever don't want anybody to see that video anymore, just mark it as unlisted. Unlist that video so that way YouTube will still keep all the data and the analytics, especially of your audience. But if you delete it, you'll delete everything that is associated with it. So I knew I couldn't delete the videos. I didn't want to unlist the videos because they were still getting thousands of views, but that phone number was there. Well, Benji came up there and said, oh, hey, by the way, I just saw that YouTube now offers an editing tool inside of YouTube Studio, and they just added a blurring feature where you can take a video that is published on YouTube and visible and actually blur things out on the screen, and it doesn't affect anything. And I was like, OMG, that is a game changer right there. And so we were able to go back to those 15 videos or so and literally blur out the phone number. And so what did that do? That directed everybody back to the description. Our lead flow increased, our business increased. And now I don't have any concern at all whatsoever that we're losing any business. We don't have a leaky funnel anymore, right? If you ever have a funnel process, you never want to have a leaky funnel. That was a leaky funnel. And so now that's just those types of things, is that being involved, studying the platform, surrounding yourself with those that have been there, done that on top of it, learning from them at all costs. I mean, and it all comes down to experimentation too. Despite of what I've learned from so many other people, I experiment on the channel. I test things. We do things. I mean, we do everything strategically, specifically. There's a reason for it. There's not a lot that we really guess on, or if we do guess on something, it's with full intention to learn and to understand, should we do it again or should we not do it again, and so it's just a matter of getting out there. Now here's the thing, is that if you just post videos on YouTube and you never study the platform or understand anything about it, then I think it's going to be very, very difficult to ever gain any traction on that. So you want to be intentional. And that's why I also believe that you can really only focus on a couple of things for your business, at least until they get up and running. Like right now, if I wanted, because I've studied YouTube so much, there's still so much for me to learn. However, it's in a automation process that if I wanted to try to become the best postcard marketer out there, I could take the time and start learning postcards and marketing, and I could implement and add that to my business. But I think the reason I could become very proficient in that is because I took time to learn and understand YouTube first. Then I've started, and I think where most people get caught up and stuck is they come in, they're like, okay, well, I've got to open my Facebook page and my Instagram account and my TikTok. And they told me I got to be on YouTube as well. Oh, and I need LinkedIn. I heard about somebody generating some, they got one listing off of LinkedIn. So I've got to open up that. And Twitter as well. Okay. So let me open up 6 different social media accounts and let me sit there and try to, post and do this on this, and they get caught up, and you end up putting 20% of your efforts amongst 5 different platforms trying to get to 100%. But I'm telling you, 20% effort on 5 different platforms doesn't get you to 100%. That'll probably get you to 20% total. And so you have to really find out what it is. Do you want to really generate business from? Go all in on that, become pretty close to a master on that, and then start to branch off into, another piece of business or opportunity or lead generation or platform or something like that. I think that's where you'll always be able to, grow your business faster by being patient and not doing more stuff. You do more by doing less. So get proficient on one lead generation platform or system, or one way to generate that business. Become extremely good on that over the next 6 months to a year. Get it to a place where it's running pretty much every day on autopilot or pretty close to it, or you have the right people in place that are running that. And then, okay, let's add the next one. And if you add, let's say you add a social media platform to your business every year for the next 5 years, I believe you'll gain more ground than trying to add all 5 right now and just dabbling 20% in each platform over the next 5 years. But if you start with YouTube, then move to Instagram, then move to TikTok, and those types of things, I think that's how you can master multiple platforms. But again, your YouTube person that you put into place to kind of handle YouTube is probably not going to be your Instagram person. So if you go to implement Instagram, you probably need to put in an Instagram person, so they can focus on that. And then you're going to have to directly measure too the business you're generating from that, and is it worthwhile to do that? So just a few of my thoughts on there. Anybody else want to jump up in here? Let's see. What's up, Ron? I think Ron's coming up. What's up, Ron? How are you? Chrissy, do you want to add anything to that? Let me jump over to Chrissy real quick.
No, I think you covered it really well. I mean, those are some of the points that I was going to point out as well. And so, yeah, no, I loved everything that you said.
Yeah, man, you're kind of on fire today.
Well, thanks.
The way you mapped it out, though, as far as like a talk, you've really covered a lot. And I love that you quote that you're into Alex. I definitely follow Alex and Leela Hormozy. They're freaking brilliant, and you learn so much about systems and focus and doing exactly what you said, which is doing more by doing less and specializing. And the way you've broken down your systems and your process and your thought process and the building blocks today has had some real clarity around it. In other rooms that you've spoken about these same things, but today you really put it together well. So job well done.
Thank you. Jennifer, would you think it'd be okay if I brag a little bit real quick about something?
What would today be if you didn't brag? Come on, please. It's your 1 year anniversary. I think you've literally and figuratively earned it. Please do.
Well, actually, I not necessarily a brag, but it is a super cool opportunity. And again, everything we're doing right now, especially with speaking engagements, conferences, all the stuff that we're doing, it's with intention. We are looking at expanding our brand to help other agents with YouTube. The best way to do that is networking, referrals, speaking, conferences, those types of things. So we've been very intentional about that's why this year I've attended more conferences than ever because of that reason. And it's opened so many more doors than already. And, we're not even halfway through the year, and just the conferences we've already been at and the relationships we built are going to 10x our business. I believe, over the course of this year. Now, there's a lot of things we're working on behind the scenes, but there's a conference next month called Grow with Video, and it's hosted by Sean Cannell and Benji Travis. And Sean Cannell, for those that don't know, host Think Media, he started Think Media. I believe they're at 2 million subs now. 2 million subscribers, and it's one of the channels that helped me really understand YouTube and a lot of behind the scenes. And, had the opportunity to build a relationship with Sean and Benji. Well, I hit up Sean probably 4 different times kind of like poking him in a good way, kind of like, hey man, because he would post stuff about, on Instagram and things like that. And I would DM a couple times, and I was trying to get us to speak at Grow with Video, and so I politely recommended ourselves probably 4 or 5 times to speak at Grow with Video. And he would always reply, but he never gave me an answer. He was always like, thumbs up or heart, or he might say something short or be like, okay, yeah, it never, always a response, but no confirmation, I would say. Well, the cool thing is that they came out like a week ago and they said, hey, we're adding an extra day to Grow with Video. It's a 50-person only private mastermind, and it's $5,000 to get in. And I'm like, oh, damn it. Because I'm like, all right, well, we're going to do that. And so I was like, well, let me see if I can get 2 for the price of 1. Because I was like, and who's headlining that with him is Alex Hermosi. And also Gary V's the headline or the keynote for Grow with Video. So I think Gary V's going to be in there as well. So he's like, this is a full day private mastermind, 50 people capped, $50,000, hanging out with Sean, Alex, possibly Gary V, a couple other really, predominant YouTubers and business people. So, I text Sean and I was like, hey man, 5K. I was like, is that for me and Travis, or do we need to buy 2 tickets separately? So that was a real question. I mean, I was like, I'm hoping we can get 2 tickets for 1, because we're partners. But then, if he says no, he gets 2 separate tickets. I was willing to accept whatever answer he gave, right? But hey, I'm a salesperson. I'm always going to ask, right? Ask for the business. Well, he comes back and he reaches out to me and he says, hey, he goes, actually, we're going to comp your ticket. He goes, you're going to be a guest expert at the mastermind event.
Wow, dude, that is phenomenal. Congratulations. Look at you. I'm so proud. But no, seriously, what you have created and accomplished, and then to go like hang out. I don't know if you've read Alex's book, $100 Million Offers. But it's all about creating like an incredible funnel and offers for products. Anyways, and his YouTube is phenomenal. He's all over, and he's just like he's at the top of the top of the top. So,
Yep.
Congratulations on gaining entry to a game-changing room. It's I'm super stoked for you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it. It completely blew me away. It was just so humbling, a great opportunity. And then he goes, but you are going to have to buy Travis's ticket. I was like, okay, well, hey, no problem. We'll do that. We'll get a ticket for Travis. No problem. Happy to do that. So I have no idea what's going to happen during that day. I have no idea what role I'm going to play or anything like that so far, but I'm okay with that. I'm like, you know what, just for the fact that, he's asking me to be in the room, I think a tremendous honor, and it's a great opportunity. So yeah, I'm super excited about that, and it's going to be a great experience.
Well, you always come from everything with the mind of a learner. You've always got an open mind, and you're always trying to add value at the same time. It's what can I learn and how can I add value? And I really appreciate that about you. And so, with that said, for those who are listening, and listen, I don't have a dog in this fight, but if you're listening and you tune in regularly to Levi, and you're thinking about how can you create YouTube and do all the things, like Levi and Travis and Chrissy have put together an incredible, like so rich of a program on how to get started in YouTube. And I have been studying him and what they've done. And those are the things that I'm putting into practice, and how I'm going to be, how I'm hiring to create, and who I'm studying, like you, reading the books you've recommended and studying the YouTube channels. And, Joe has, his own personality, lives in a great place, and can study what Altman does, and he can study what Inez does, and study what all these people are doing to find his own vibe and really own it. And I think that's a big part of what you've done, Levi, is you've studied it and then you've made it yours. And at the end of the day, that's all any of us can do. And the people that enjoy the content that we create are going to become our tribe, and they're going to follow us, and they're going to recommend us. And then it just kind of goes from there. And that's what you've done so exceptionally well. And that's how you earned a place on that stage. So way to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. That really means a lot. So let's wrap this up. Ron, I saw you come up, so I just want to close this out with you, my good friend. Do you have a question, comment, or contribution you'd like to throw in here to kind of close us out?
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. So I've been following you for a while. So well done, well done. Yeah, so my question is to kind of rev up just regular YouTube videos. So not reels, right? So not some or shorts, not something less than a minute, but just a regular YouTube video. If you push it out through email, through your network to start to get views, get people to click on it, and your views start to pick up, will the algorithm realize that, yeah, that's something that other people want to watch, and then start to kind of rev it up and show it to more people?
I don't believe so. I think the two things on that. So if you haven't noticed, you'll notice now. If you click on it, and you can try this experiment after we get off of here, go to go to Facebook or go to Instagram or find a YouTube video that somebody's posted, click on it. It'll open it up in your browser. It doesn't open it up in your app. And so if you try to like or comment on that video, it'll ask you to sign in. So for YouTube cannot track that person because you're not signed into the account. So I don't believe sharing it on other social profiles, if somebody clicks on it over there, that number one, the first however long they're watching, 10, 15, 20 seconds, it's not giving any data right there to YouTube. Now, the other thing is I believe heavily in platform psychology, which means if somebody's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I don't think they're in the mood or the attention span to watch YouTube videos. And so even though they may click on it, maybe it piques their interest and they click over and they see it's a 20-minute video, a 25-minute video, I don't believe they're going to say, "Oh, this is great. I was looking for a 25-minute video to watch." Most of the time people are on these platforms to kill time, check in on their friends and families, catch up on what people are doing throughout the day. They're not really going there to consume long form content. So I believe it's best to let the algorithm do what it does on its own. Let people that are searching on Google, searching on YouTube, find your content. That's going to tell them exactly who your audience is. And they're more likely to watch because they're probably in a research mindset. They're in a long form content mindset, just as we've shared, on our channel, 53% of our traffic from our channel comes from TV, desktop, and tablet, which are research devices. If you sit on your couch and put our videos on your TV, you're ready to watch long form content. I mean, you're on the couch in your living room. Think about that. People sitting on their couch watching your content. Actually, 26% of our traffic just comes from TV. You can't, as far as I know, you can't watch TikTok videos or Instagram videos on TV, right? So that's a huge opportunity to build relationships with people, is for them to sit on their couch and watch your videos. Computers, nobody's sitting on there saying, "Hey, honey, let's go spend an evening on our desktop computer," right? So if somebody's going to spend an evening watching videos on their desktop computer, they're probably researching. They're probably trying to figure out what's their next move, where are they going, where do they want to live. Same thing with tablets are usually devices where we have an expanded screen, so we're going to take time to research more things. I don't even like buying stuff on my phone. Like if I want to purchase something on my phone and it wants me to put in all my information, I'm like, "Oh, let me go over here to my desktop and just click on the exact same thing, and it has all my information. I can put it in there." So the attention span is not on mobile necessarily, and also platform psychology. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And one of the things that I did with this latest series is I actually uploaded all the videos all at once and created them in a specific playlist so people could basically binge watch, because each video builds on itself upon each other, but individually on its own, it may not stand apart. But as a series, it all works. So people are actually kind of watching it as a series. And I actually had a couple people say that they watched the whole thing on their TV. So that's really interesting you brought that up.
The line of the day is you can't watch Instagram and TikTok videos on your TV.
Right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that's the case, right? I mean, I don't even know about Facebook. Does anybody pull up Facebook on their TV? I doubt it, but
you could cast it, right? So you could use.
You could just mirror.
Yeah.
Like from your computer screen, but would you?
I tell you what, I've been trying to mirror from my phone. It's like 2022, and I still have trouble trying to mirror from my phone on stuff. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt.
Well, and you can watch TikTok videos on your TV through YouTube. People upload them to YouTube, and that's how people watch them on their TV. That's pretty much the only way.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. But again, yeah, I mean, think about that. 53% of our traffic to YouTube comes from TV, desktop, and tablet, which tells us, and you can see it in the view durations. Our average view duration on TV is 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay. So that means on average, getting people to watch almost 10 minutes worth of your content in one sitting, that's pretty powerful. So anyways, just food for thought. And I think that's a good place to kind of end it there for the day. Thank you all for joining us today. This has been YouTube for Real Estate. Thank you all for your questions, contributions, comments, and we will see you next week. I think I'm probably going to have to postpone till Wednesday because of travel, but just keep an eye on whenever we schedule, and would love to have you all back next week. And, so in the meantime, well, we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching all for free, schedule a call at 5starstrategycall.com.